and the lawyers of the Speaker of Parliament to file their response to the amended statement of case.
Subsection 1 of that law, the financial impact assessment report should have been attached. Then we have gone further to show that by even a subsidiary legislation, and that is LI 1373, that report should have been attached, and Regulation 12 of that law, that report should have been attached. So the presiding justice of the Supreme Court said that in that regard, it would be good if we indicate it in our statement of case, and that is what we've been asked to do between today and 22nd, and we promise the whole nation that we will keep to that deadline.
Well, we're trying too hard to engage one of the lead proponents of the anti-LGBTQ bill, that is the fear Makpo, but we're trying to engage him. As and when we do get that, we will bring it. But let's give you a recap, or I should say an epoch of what has transpired still on the anti-LGBTQ. So as we do know, the trajectory so far. So in February 2024, the Parliament passed anti-LGBT bill awaiting presidential assent. Then we saw the issue that came around it. So later in March 2024, President Akufo-Addo then commented on the issue, saying that he will hold on for a while because the case is in court. But as at that time, there were deliberation as to whether or not someone had filed legal action already. Then later on March 2024, Richard Delesky filed a second application against the LGBTQ bill, seeking an injunction of Parliament. Then again, in May 2024, the Supreme Court had an injunction of application against the LGBTQ bill. Then the issue then prolonged onto June. We all saw what happened. So, as I'm saying, the trajectory of the anti-LGBTQ bill, the Supreme Court's ruling, which now has been postponed to 18th of December, there's a lot of questions. So then Supreme Court declared the ruling of injunction to hear the substantive case. That was in July 2024. Swiftly in October, proponents of the anti-LGBT bill staged a protest over delays in passing the bill. Then the judiciary issued a statement saying that the parties involved had failed to issue their processes, hence the delay. And in October 2024, again, the development and conversations came in sharp contrast, because then we had parliamentary issues where the vacant seat was also in court. We also saw the swift action the judiciary issued on that. Then again, it brought the conversation as to whether or not the judiciary is choosing and picking on selected issues on that. So later in October 2024, again, the development, as I said, about the conversation as to whether or not the judiciary is picking and choosing on issues has become topical. Then I said earlier that we were trying to engage one of the lead proponents of the anti-LGBT Q bill, that is the honorable member, the fear Makpo, who unfortunately we seem to be losing on the throne due to technical issues. But as and when once again we do engage him, we will let you know. He has been speaking on this issue, of course, calling the judiciary. Let's do some more stories. The Flower Pot Interchange, a significant infrastructure project in Accra, Ghana, was commissioned by President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo on November 19, 2024. This project aims to alleviate traffic congestion and improve connectivity between key areas in the city. Derek Kumikisiedu has more in the following report.
Commissioned the newly built Flower Pot Interchange November 19, 2024. The Flower Pot and the Motorway Interchange project is designed to complement the newly completed underpass and serve as alternative route for north and south of the Tema Motorway movement. The project has undergone several revisions and now features an 800 meters span flyover starting at the Palace Mall off Sprinters Road and ending at Banju Road in East Legon. on. Speaking at the event, the president highlighted some 14 additional interchanges which are currently underway across Ghana. In Greater Accra region, notably Obichebilamte Phase 2, Nongwa, Adrengano, Pram, Dawenya, and Tema Motorway Phase 2. In the Ashanti region, Swami Interchange Phase 1, Nyakrum Magzi New Road, and an interchange in the Western region.
This project will significantly remove the congestion of long playing this area, facilitating efficient movement along the boundary road, Spintex Road, and Birmingham bypass corridor. Before today, the Flower Pot roundabout faced overwhelming traffic, often burdened with up to 5,000 vehicles per hour during peak times. Today we tell the page and offer a solution designed not only to resolve today's challenges, but also to anticipate tomorrow's demands. The interchange, with its two-tier structure, redesigned roundabouts, with the elevated north-south flyover, linking Birmingham bypass to Boundary Road, is an investment in the efficient future of this corridor. It will ease travel time, enhance the free flow of goods and services, and encourage economic vitality within the region. This is the future we envision. A future where infrastructure supports and amplifies our collective ambitions.
The Greater Accra Regional Minister, Titus Glover, speaking at the event, said this Flowerport flyover will strengthen the commercial and social dynamics within Greater Accra and opening new growth for economic development.
This will ultimately strengthen the commercial and social dynamics within the region, opening new opportunities for economic growth and development. Your Excellency, permit me to use this opportunity on behalf of the chiefs and people of Greater Accra to express our profound gratitude for your vision. On behalf of the chiefs and people of Greater Accra, to express our.
And now the delay in construction of trade fair has raised numerous concerns from the residents of Lam and its environs, as local businesses have been put to halt. As the year-end deadline approaches, there is a sense of anticipation among Ghanaian businesses eager to see a renewed platform for homegrown innovations. But the project is unlikely to be completed before the end of the year. As the wait continues, the Member of Parliament for Ladadikotopon, Rita Odole Soam, has criticized the government for not completing the trade fair project, accusing the government of reconstructing the edifice under a contract that is shrouded in secrecy. My colleague Andy Opon-Denchi has more in this report.
Significant move to revitalize local industry, the Ghana Trade Fair is undergoing a major transformation. However, progress on the project, which began last year, has stalled, raising concerns among stakeholders. The incomplete project has drawn criticism from various quarters, including the Member of Parliament for La Dadikotopon, Rita Odole Soa. She expressed concerns about the impact of the delays on businesses and alleged lack of transparency surrounding the project.
It's constructed years back, way back, and being in Dadikotopon, it has helped the constituents get jobs to do and other Ghanaians to operate in there. And so for us, it has been a joy to have this facility in our constituency. While others come in to ply their businesses, we all also take advantage of the area to also ply our trade or our businesses.
She further bemoaned that the government has failed to engage the local community in the reconstruction process, including the lack of argument to compensate the owners of the land.
It is a great disappointment that 8 years down the line in the governance of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and the NPP, we haven't seen anything meaningful being done at the trade fair. And we have called on them severally. I have raised it in Parliament, and they are not telling us any good thing.
Residents living near the Trade Fair Center are also expressing frustration. They fear that if the current administration does not complete the reconstruction before the end of its term, a future government may abandon the project altogether. They are urging swift action to ensure the redevelopment reaches completion.
So I think they didn't do well. If they are not ready to do anything on the land, I don't think they should have demolished it.
So as for trade fair, they are spoiling it because for the first in some years back, when they open trade fair, people get job to do, and here it's always function. Students making exams and everything in there.
Before it was working, at least people were having food to their families and friends and whatever. But now nobody is working there. The place is also empty. You know, just construction. Nothing is moving on over here. I'm just opposed to this place.
Always look outmoded. So I think they are renovating it or they demolished it to make it ultra-modern.
Despite these concerns, the Chief Executive Officer of the Trade Fair Center, Dr. Agnes Edu, remains optimistic. She recently announced that efforts are being made to complete the project by the end of the year to establish the new Trade Fair Center as a hub for showcasing Ghanaian industries to the world. The Trade Fair Center's redevelopment could become a beacon of hope for Ghanaian entrepreneurs. For now,
away from that, 16 days to the 2024 election. ABC is your credible and your poll center for the 2024 election. We're back with some election stories to stay. The countdown to the December 7th polls continues today, and campaign trail as part of our Vote and Not Violence campaign. We will look at the counter accusations between the NPP and the NDC and what is happening in the various camps as the two major political parties hint at election rigging, as well as to discuss security arrangements by the Ghana Police Service.
To help them rig the election.
Take charge of a well-crafted scheme that has been designed by the NPP to rig the upcoming elections, particularly in the Ashanti region. Through ballot stuffing, swapping of ballot boxes, swapping of pink sheets, and other clandestine activities, starting with a special voting exercise scheduled for December 2nd of this year. The chairman of the Election Security Task Force. We will also be drawing the attention of the CDS to these developments officially, but not just him. Our external developmental partners will also be notified. And so the observers will be notified, the foreign missions will be notified.
So, to help them rig the election.
Take charge of a well-crafted scheme that has been designed by the NPP to rig the upcoming elections, particularly in the Ashanti region. Through ballot stuffing, swapping of ballot boxes, swapping of pink sheets, and other clandestine activities, starting with a special voting exercise scheduled for December 2nd of this year. The chairman of the Election Security Task Force. We will also be drawing the attention of the CDS to these developments officially, but not just him. Our external developmental partners will also be notified. And so the observers will be notified, the foreign missions will be notified.
So,
the government spokesperson on governance and security, Pavrik Bwache Dankwa, has stated categorically that the ruling New Patriotic Party has no intentions to rig the elections, adding that this year's election will be free, fair and transparent. His comment follows allegations from the National Democratic Congress at a press conference yesterday, where the NDC accused the NPP of plotting to rig the elections with support of the security service.
Agency and the NDC have always been at the backbench of trying to cause fear and panic and trying to distort truth and always trying to misinform, disinform, and a clear agenda of always letting Ghanaian people feel and believe that the New Patriotic Party and the government of the day is purporting to rig an election and bringing in very respected uniformed people who have had many years of experiences serving this country, either in the military, either in the Ghana Police Service, either in the immigration, either in the customs, the prisons, or the Ghana National Fire Service, politicizing the work of very credible people. I'm extremely surprised that yesterday Sami Jensi turned out these allegations and these accusations.
Meanwhile, Dr. Boachi Dankwa further debunked the notion that the security service can rig an election in favor of the political party. He challenges Sami Jenfi and the NDC to share any information they have, suggest otherwise.
The security service personnel do not rig elections. These accusations in a few days leading to the 2024 general election, very heated election, that all candidates are campaigning, churning out their policies, churning out their ideas. One of the things that one would have expected the NDC to be doing at this time is training their polling station agents, rather than bringing out these false allegations that causes fear and panic into the Ghanaian people. You can imagine the number of calls I've received just because of this misinformation and disinformation that Sami Jenfi is putting out. I would have wished that rather than calling for a press conference, if he has any iota of truth, was to be able to submit his documents to the requisite organizations or institutions. Because you put out a fear and panic information, you turn out accusations that Brigadier General Opoku is purporting to want to rig a general election. He's been sent to the Central Command. If anyone has an idea of how the security services work, and I tell you, I grew up in Bemaka. I have lived in barracks all throughout my life, and I can clearly understand that before you move from first lieutenant to second lieutenant to captain to major to lieutenant colonel to brigadier general to lieutenant general, major general, and then general, the highest rank, you would have gone through a lot of years of experience, a lot of years of training, a lot of years of examination, a lot of years of credibility.
Meanwhile, the Deputy Director of IT and Elections for the National Democratic Congress, Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer, has issued a stern warning to individuals attempting to disrupt the 2024 general elections. Speaking on ABC in the morning on Wednesday, November 20, 2024, Dr. Tanko Computer declared, quoting, that if you try to run away with the ballot box, we will finish you. Quote, we will take the laws into our own hands and deal with you, he quoted. Now, this warning comes amidst growing tensions between the NDC and key state institutions over electoral conduct.
We have it as a party, and we know who is sent where. So, in the deployment mechanism, we didn't see any military person amongst them. And so, we don't expect to see military at the polling stations and the collation centers. Is the police, are they telling that the police cannot handle it? The IGP spoke nicely yesterday. He's in charge.
Yeah.
He's in charge.
Okay.
What will make people to go and comment trouble at polling stations? It is only those who want to snatch ballot boxes. Okay. They are the people who cause trouble. And this year, if you try it, we'll finish you before you get home. Try and come and say you want to snatch any ballot box. I'm telling you, anybody who dare to try to come and say he wants to snatch a ballot box, like what they did in 2020, some constituencies in Ahafo, we have all the evidence. Do you know that some 2 polling stations could not be counted for in 2020 because they snatched the ballot boxes and ran away?
As part of our election coverage, we give the platform to the political parties to know how far their campaign is faring. We're going straight to the camp of the NDC, and we are joined by the communications team member of the NDC, Louisa Kwachi. Louisa, where is John Mahama and the vice campaigning currently?
President Mahama is currently in the Eastern region as part of his 5-day tour of the region. So today, he will be going to 7 different locations, representing 7 constituencies out of the 33 constituencies in the region. So currently, he is on his way to Begro after engaging in New Jabberry North and then Ebuakwa North, respectively.
Obviously, we know that he's been campaigning, and as currently he is in the eastern region, he stormed the incumbent president's region, and he has been making a lot of talks on over there. Walk us through some of the highlights so far, because it has been topical. Most of the fact that he says that the people of Chebi should demand accountability from the incumbent president because he has failed abysmally at his home region.
One would expect that, as the English saying goes, charity begins at home. So if as a president you have delivered on your mandate, the very people that you belong to should be able to give an account of what you have done, or you should give an account to your people of the good things that you have done. Touring the region, one would notice that the major product or the major sector that is highlighting the local economy of Eastern region is agriculture. As a matter of fact, the president stated that he's going to put his presidency on the line to fight Galamsey. But what we see now, that right in his hometown, that is Chebi, that we have told yesterday, you would see how Galamsey has affected the people of Eastern region. So their local economy that is hinged on agriculture is a problem, and it is affecting their livelihoods. You walk through the region, from Suhum to Koforidua, from Koforidua to other aspects of the region like in Koko, that stretch which is known as the Kumasi Highway, you would see how that road is in a very deplorable state. So the questions that President Mahama has been asking is that if indeed you have constructed over 12,000 kilometers of asphalted road as is being touted, where are the roads? How have the over 700 billion monies that we have borrowed over the years, how have they been expended? So these are some of the issues that he's been talking about. Other issues that he's been talking about has to do with the free senior high school policy. A policy that the MPP over the period have been talking about in the region that President Mahama is going to cancel. But he reiterated that if somebody will cancel a policy, they would not try to implement a policy that is as close as that, which has the main objective being accessibility, quality, and reducing or alleviating poverty from our parents who pay school fees. He did that by launching the progressive free senior high school policy in Okunfi Otuum on the 17th of September 2015. So if such a person who implemented a policy that is likened to the policy that is being run now, how will such a person cancel it? Rather, he is going to make the policy better by sealing all the loopholes that the implementation have given to that policy. And then he talks about how the people of the region have been impoverished. Reason being that there is no direct policy that is being directed at the women and the youth of the region. So the Women's Development Bank policy is being talked about.
Hello, Louisa.
Hello, I'm
Yes, kindly hold on for me. We have been joined on the line by Deputy Director of Policy for the Movement for Change to also give us a rundown of their campaign rally. Let me just put it because he's on the line. Good afternoon. First of all, let me just ask you, why is the flag bearer currently and how is campaigning going? Oh, he's via Zoom apparently.
Thank you very much, my brother, and greetings to Louisa and all your audiences this afternoon. The Honorable Anton Kojocha Martin is in the Bono region as we speak, doing what we call the mop-up after the caravan tour that he had across the various countries. The running mate is in the OT region, which is his home region, also engaging electorate extensively on the policy, but most importantly on the credibility of the ticket, on the credibility of Alan Martin and his competence, and the reason why the voters should trust him to bring transformation to this country, as against Alhaji Baumia and former President Mahama. And what he's telling them is that it is not about promises, it's not about fanciful ideas on paper, but it's about whether you have the capacity to implement those and also the credibility to do that which you promise to do. A cursory survey of manifestos of the two major political parties over the years will show you that most often they hardly are able to even implement 40% of what they put on paper. What that means is that they put juicy promises on to sort of like hoodwink voters to vote for them, and then the delivery at the end of the day does not match up to the promise. The difference with Alan Martin is that he has not just a list of promises of a manifesto, but a plan to tell you that this is what I will do to fix the currency. This is what I'm going to do to fix Galamsey. We have a 10-point plan to deal with Galamsey extensively. We have a 10-point plan to deal with youth development and the likes. And that is what his campaign has been about, engaging people from all walks of life in the Bono region today. Yesterday, he was in the Western region after he left the Ashanti region. And so from Bono region, tomorrow, he would continue with the MOPA.
Courage, I would want to go on to Louisa, but let me first ask you on this particular question before I engage Louisa. Yesterday, as you know, the NDC had a press and made some allegations of election rigging by the NPP. Now, what is the movement for change in your own monitoring for the electoral process have to say about this?
Thank you very much. I mean, the movement for change has been saying this right from beginning of the year, that the sort of appointments that had been happened, particularly within the security services, in particular national security and the BNI. See, Emmanuel Nana Atobra, who heads the NIB, formerly BNI, is a party person. If this is a former director of Dankwa Institute and a party person, I know him. Edward Asmani, who heads the national security, is a party person and a former director of Dankwa Institute as well. You know, these appointments immediately began to signal that there is a grand scheme to put partisan people in charge of the security services as a way of manipulating the election. So we've been sounding the alarm ever since. You know, before you look at the composition of the Electoral Commission, you know, Etuahne, who is a party officer from the Bono region, and then you have Dr. Bosman, who, when I was at Legon, was TESCON patron. And TESCON is a student wing of the NPP. You know, so we've been trumpeting these all the while. We are glad that the major opposition party, that is the NDC, you know, has also begun to pick these things. See, the Brigadier General in question, as far back as 2 weeks ago, I began receiving intel about some of his activities and the fact that he seems to be like a hatchet man, you know, for the incumbent administration. So what the NDC is saying, we have cause to believe, is very factual and raises a lot of concern. And all well-meaning Ghanaians should rise up, you know, to demand that things are done right by this country and that we do not allow anything that will compromise the peace and safety of the country. So we support them in that call, and we believe that the president has a lot more to do to assure us that this election will be free and fair.
Courage, I'll come back to you for your final word. But Louisa, just as I said, I asked the question to Courage. Yesterday's presser gave a lot of impression about the 2024 election to say, but where is all these allegations coming from? And then again this morning or on our program, your Deputy Director for ITs and Election, Rashid Tanko, has made some wild allegations saying that if anyone tries to rig the election, they will take the law into their hands. Of course, we're not living in a republic, banana republic, forgive my French.
I am so glad that you use the phrase, we do not live in a banana republic. What it means for a state that is living in a democracy, that there is justice, there is freedom, and that will guarantee peace. But in a democratic state, where there is no justice, where freedom is curtailed, peace cannot be guaranteed. And that is likened to a banana republic. The third individual whom the presser was addressed to, and I heard Pargrave's preposterous statements on your platform this afternoon. We gave specific detailing of why we are saying what we are saying. So it doesn't remain an allegation, it remains a matter of fact. It is a matter of fact that this nation went for a by-election at Ayawaso West Wogon. People, civilians were brutally attacked. As we speak, persons are left living with a disability. And then what did the president do? He constituted a commission to investigate it. That is the short commission. And what are the recommendations of the short commission? They said that this said man is the person who orchestrated those attacks on the innocent civilians, and he should be reprimanded. Instead of being reprimanded, he is promoted. And so tell me, as a lame person who is not a politician and a journalist, these two conflicting ideas and the double-faced standards that the president is exhibiting, is it not setting us on a path of Reagan? As Courage indicated, a majority of people who are heading various security agencies in this nation now is being filled by NDC and MPP members, MPP party apparatus.
Well, Louisa, unless you have proof to that, I do not know about that.
Let me give you the proof. One of the proof that Courage gave is the BNI boss that you don't have proof to. You do not have proof to that he was a former head of the Danka Institute. You do not have proof to the third person that we are mentioning now, who the short commission said that he should be reprimanded. So if somebody is to be reprimanded and you give that person a promotion instead of reprimanding the person, are you not empowering people to take the laws into their own hands? Because the very people who are in the security agencies who are supposed to protect us turn around to harm us, and the president gives them a promotion instead of reprimanding them. So all these things have happened, and then as a political party, we have always maintained that as the people who birthed the democracy we are enjoying now, that is the Fourth Republic in 1992, we are going to protect that democracy of this nation, and no individual. You will recall that members, key members of the NPP on various occasions have said, including the president, that they are not going to hand over power today nor tomorrow. It must definitely be Alhaji Bawumia that the president hands over power to. And with all of these things happening, well-meaning Ghanaians, the media, and everybody should add their voices to that of the opposition political parties and the movement for revolutionary change. That government and democracy does not belong to a particular set of people. Power belongs to the people. It is the people who elect leaders. And so if the leaders we have elected will not make the power that belongs to the people remain as such, then the people will protect their power. And that is all the NDC has set out to do in the runoff to the election 2024.
Louisa, we are grateful for your time. We would like to engage you more in a subsequent bulletin, but that's all time would allow. We have been speaking with the communications team member of the NDC, Louisa Kwachi. Courage, let me wrap up with you. Your flag bearer, obviously, some weeks ago, I think 2 days ago, was actually making trends, saying that the NPP has not done enough. In fact, he actually was not happy the fact that former President John Ejekun Kufuor was hailing the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, saying that he is the best option the NPP chose. Let me ask you, in terms of infrastructure, what is the Movement for Change have to say about this?
All right, thank you very much. I think Alan Martin, in his great transformational plan, right since June this year, has been saying that it does not make sense to build infrastructure in the 21st century by borrowing. That uninnovative approach to infrastructure development is what is sinking us in debt. The NDC's approach is borrow and spend. The MPP's approach has been borrow and spend. And he has always been against it. He said, no, you don't have to do that. There is an arrangement we call public-private partnership that you need to adopt for infrastructure development. In fact, presently as we speak, our debt volume is so high that we've been shut out of the international financial markets. Because of the domestic debt exchange that we're there, we do not have the capacity to borrow locally. Our only option going forward then is private sector. So any form of infrastructure development that is contingent on borrowing money to spend, which we call the tomatoes economics, which is what Alhaji Bawumia seems to have mastered. After all the promises that said that we don't have to borrow, I've worked at the Bank of Ghana before. There's money we don't have to borrow and all the likes. For one to now start today, to now see that I have done infrastructure development, chiefly by borrowing and spending and sinking the country into debt. So vote for me. It's preposterous. Gabi Asarachodako on 19th November, 5:05 a.m., tweeted, and I quote, vote for change, not interchange. And I think that call should still resound today. So what we are saying is that, yes, some infrastructure have been put in place. My brother, can you imagine that the flyover that was inaugurated or opened yesterday, it has taken 8 years to construct. It was started in November 2016, and it took November 2024 for it to be completed.
Which your flag bearer then was part of the party.
I can assure you that if my flag bearer were the Minister for Roads and Transport, or the Minister for Works and Housing, or Minister for anything at all, that would not have happened. And his track record is clear at the Trade Ministry, what he did, how within a short period of 4 years he was able to initiate 294 one district, one factory initiatives. Out of 126 were complete and operational, creating 170,000 jobs.
And courage. I mean, what about the one district, one factory that was not also completed under him? I mean, the project that was not completed under him.
Of course, within 4 years, the turnaround time for a factory is 2.5 years. So if within 4 years, out of 294, 126, which means that clearly they had started earlier, were completed, and then the ones in the offing had been started within the last 2 years before he resigned from office, then you understand the kind of person we are talking about, the efficiency with which he manages. But even more importantly, he's done something that has not happened in the world over, that without government spending a peso, he was able to use policy, which he says is the most important tool of government, to attract 5 out of the 6 global automobile brands to enter this Ghanaian market, to be assembling cars right here, employing our engineers and a host of other Ghanaians. That is the kind of capacity that he has. In fact,
all right, Courage, I'm afraid we'd have to end the conversation here. Unfortunately, we do not have so much time. We do appreciate your time. We have been speaking to Courage Nobi, who is the Deputy Director of Policy for the Movement for Change. But let's now move to the NPP. We do have Jesse Boakom, who is the NPP's communications team member. Jesse, walk us through exactly where the Vice President is campaigning and what's the latest you can give to us.
Good afternoon to everyone. Yesterday, the Vice President, Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia, an incoming president, we ended our campaign in Ashanti region yesterday with 3 constituencies, which is Ahafo North, Ahafo Southeast, and Ahafo Southwest. We are left with 2 other constituencies in the Ashanti region. We'll be back on 30th of November to complete those constituencies. As we can speak, out of the 47 constituencies in Ashanti region, we are done with 45. We'll be back again on the 30th. We are moving straight to the northern region to do some final touches before we'll come to we are going to have a mammoth rally. And this time around, it's not going to be a regional rally. We are doing it northern belt, middle belt, and the coastal belt. And that is how the structure of the campaign will be currently as we are speaking. I will be touching on some constituencies that has been difficult for the New Patriotic Party, for which we believe with a little push and a little effort, we can get some of the constituencies in addition to already what we have. We must get majority in Parliament, and that is what currently we are working on. We know the message of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has resonated with the Ghanaian electorate. As we speak, every constituency, every polling station, in every electoral area that we visit, the talking there has been very consistent, which is no Bawumia, no vote, no Bawumia, no vote. Looking at the development of the New Patriotic Party from 2017 to date, I mean, NPP, we've done a lot. Looking at our track record from health, education, infrastructure, I mean, everything. And the policies of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, one policy which is key is about the cost of dialysis. If you recall, it's been a challenge in this country at the major hospitals. You know, people always die, cases always increase, the cost of dialysis, the price and everything. On December 1st, under the NHIS, the cost of dialysis is going to be free for everyone. And these are some of the things that the Ghanaian people want to hear. Especially another thing is about the cocoa scholarship scheme.
Jesse, we'll come to all of that, but I just want to find out from you, how's the reception been so far? We also see that even in the rain, he's still campaigning.
Yeah, so the reception has been great. The feedback from the electorate has always been very massive. And we know, and we are very optimistic, that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will win the December 7th election.
All right. Jesse, yesterday I believe you paid attention to what the NDC's communications director, Sami Jenfi, said. He said that the NPP is plotting to rig the elections with barely 16 days to the elections. You have also indicated that Bawumia is not relenting on making sure that you, the NPP, get the majority in power. Is it true that the NPP is planning or plotting to rig this year's election?
I mean, those allegations by Sami Jenfi are false. Sami Jenfi should not be taken serious in this country because consistently he has lied on some personnel, he has lied on people's integrity, and that is the nature of Sami Jenfi, and that is the nature of the candidature, John Dramani Mahama and the NDC as well. They keep on spewing lies, and they keep on, I mean, they are just using a psychological game on the Ghanaian people. Ghanaians are smart, Ghanaians are wise. The allegations making by Sami Jenfi saying Brigadier General Michael Opoku is plotting something with President Akufo-Addo to rig the election. These are false. I mean, how can one person rig election in this country? It is not possible. It is not possible for a Brigadier General to rig an election. It is the Ghanaian.
So is it also to say that Brigadier General Michael Opoku is no affiliation with the NPP?
It's not about having affiliation with the NPP. At the military, they don't do politics, and you are aware that those people, they are doing their job. So if somebody is executing his or her task person, you can't say the person is aligned with a political party. I mean, we shouldn't be giving Sami Jenfi some of this platform to be spewing this kind of life. We are above this. The MPP, we are working very hard. We are making sure we'll get the numbers to go and vote. Our message for the people is clear, and we've been very consistent. We've been very clear.
Hello, Jesse.
Yes.
Yeah, we seem to be losing you. Hello.
Yes.
Yes, go on.
In a bus. I think that.
Unfortunately, we seem to be having issues with Jesse Boako, who is an NPP communications team member, but he's made his thoughts saying that the NPP has no intentions of rigging the election. Then again, he says that the Brigadier General Michael Opoku is not even affiliated with the NPP, so that is just an afterthought. But let's do some more stories still on elections, and the Ghana Police Service has pledged to take firm actions against individuals who incite violence before, during and after the December election. The police stated that holding perpetrators accountable will act as a deterrent to other considering actions that could destabilize the country. During an engagement with the Civic Forum Initiative at the police headquarters in Accra on Tuesday, November 19, Inspector General of Police Dr. Ekufu Dampare emphasized a zero-tolerance approach to violence. He assured that the police would ensure the law strictly is to enforce throughout the electoral period.
As the leader agency and extension the Inspector General of Police as the chairperson of the task force. We want to ensure the elections will be very peaceful because of the measures we put in place. So Ghana, feel free, Ghanaians, feel free and live your life now. We have your back. Why am I saying this? This election has been touted as one of the most crucial elections in our history, and rightly so. But But knowing from what we have done in terms of our preparation, the assurance is clear. Taking us more than 2 years preparing for these elections, because we have considered election to be a process and not an event. And these 2 years has led us to produce the first ever election blueprint for this country, covering every aspect of election. The Ghana Police Service as the lead agency and extension, the Inspector General Police.
Meanwhile, the Director of Governance, Justice and Peace of the Ghana Bishops Catholic Conference, which forms part of the Civil Forum Initiative, Reverend Father Michael Kweku, spoke to ABCGH.
We were invited by the courtesy of the IGP to have this stakeholder engagement to acquaint ourselves with their preparedness in terms of security going into this year's election. I must personally say that I am very, very reassured by what we have heard today. The preparedness of police, the rather detailed preparations made from deployment and to making sure that the various polling stations are properly, provided with the security apparatus and personnel. So we are rather reassured, and we want to assure our brothers and sisters Ghanaians that from our part, we are convinced that the police is prepared and willing to deliver their bit in security terms towards the peace and the success of our impending election. We were invited by the courtesy of the IGP to have this stakeholder engagement to acquaint us.
Let's now engage security analyst Adib Sani on the statement and counter allegations of election rigging involving the security service. Adib, the politicians have started to implicate the security service in the plot to rig the election. How dangerous is this for the sanctity of the security service?
Well, surely these allegations, if not investigated and cleared, has the potential of validating people's existence, suspicions, and perceptions about the security services and what they are up to. As a matter of fact, the allegation against the said Brigadier General is very damning, because for an officer to get to the rank of Brigadier General surely is a big deal. And for the person to be implicated by the NDC in attempts to rig the elections, especially in Ashanti region, I think it's most worrying. And so I would expect that immediately the Ghana Police Service institutes an investigation into the matter. I would have even thought as early as 8 a.m. the police should have invited the NDC and the said Brigadier General for questioning and possibly obtained a warrant to go into the premises of this Brigadier General to ascertain whether indeed he is engaged in such activities or not. But you see, because he's a soldier, there are some processes to follow. The police would have to reach out to the military for the military to release him officially for police to inquire into the matter. Because if it is not investigated, trust me, it would validate what people are already suspecting about the intentions of some to engage in electoral malpractices. So I think that it is very dangerous for our democracy.
Adib, if the NDC's pressure is anything to go by, I want to ask the question: how did we get here, and how can we depoliticize the nature of our security service?
The problem is people perpetrate all manner of crimes in the name of politics, and they are not held to account. If you or myself do 50% of what some politicians have done in Ghana and have not been held to account, I'm sure you and I would spend a lot of days behind bars. So why does it have to be so? So until, especially the police, deal with people rigorously and vigorously, oblivion of whichever part of the political divide they belong, or whether they are politicians or not, we would have a lot more of, such characters motivated to engage in all manner of malfeasances. And it is particularly grave at this time when we are about to have, I think, one of the most important and contentious elections since the inception of the Fourth Republic. The stakes are high. There's been a lot of statements. The EC has decided to reject requests by CSOs for accreditation. All of these issues put together creates a very disturbing situation. But I am still hopeful. I think we still have an opportunity to do the right things. On this occasion, the police should have sprung into action without delay. If not, the other side might think that the security services or state institutions don't have their interest at heart, and so they might also decide to take matters into their own hands. And this is how conflicts, violent situations are triggered. So I think we need to address this as a matter of priority.
Brigadier General Michael Opoku, what must be done actually?
Well, you see, before the police can question a soldier, they need to go through the military command structure. So I would have thought by now, I don't know what's going on right now at this point in time, but the police should write to the military requesting them to release him for investigations to be done. If that is not done at this point in time, then I don't think there's commitment on the part of the police to investigating this matter. But if they had done so already, kudos to them, but I hope it doesn't end there. They need to follow up to ensure that every I is dotted and every T is crossed, to send a clear signal to the effect that we are a country that is governed by the rule of law, and you cannot afford to take matters into your own hands.
All right, Adib, we're so much grateful for your time. We appreciate it. We have been speaking with Adib Sani, who is a security expert on this conversation of election security. When we are back, we have business and some more news to stay. Business President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has officially commissioned the newly constructed Bank of Ghana headquarters, describing it as a beacon of financial progress and inclusivity for the nation. Speaking at the ceremony in Accra, President Akufo-Addo lauded the central bank's effort in modernizing its operations to align with global financial trends. He emphasized that the state-of-the-art facility symbolizes Ghana's aspirations for the robust and inclusive financial sector capable of supporting economic growth.
Built by a Ghanaian entity, Kwaku Bediako's Gold Key Properties Limited, is proof of their creativity, expertise, and perseverance. It stands as a landmark of pride for the people of Ghana and a beacon of our financial future. As we celebrate this achievement, let us also reflect on our shared responsibility to continue building an economy that is stable, inclusive, and prosperous. Let the Bank Square remind us of the importance of sound governance, visionary leadership, and unwavering commitment to the well-being of all Ghanaians. Accordingly, ladies and gentlemen, it is now my singular honor and privilege to declare the Bank Square officially commissioned as the new headquarters of the Bank of Ghana.
Meanwhile, Finance Minister Dr. Enim Adams has stated that the newly commissioned Bank Square for the Bank of Ghana symbolizes the nation's commitment to economic stability, financial integrity and progress. According to him, the new edifice will boost the Bank of Ghana's capacity and position it to render services to banks in a timely manner.
Of the Council of State, my colleague ministers, the governor and deputy governors of the Bank of Ghana, the Bank Square. This monumental edifice represents more than just a physical structure. It symbolizes our nation's commitment to economic stability, financial integrity, and progress. As Minister for Finance, I acknowledge the critical role the central bank plays in shaping our economic destiny. This new headquarters will therefore provide a conducive environment for the bank's dedicated staff to execute their mandate with efficiency and effectiveness. Many people, some of them here today, have worked tirelessly to make this occasion a reality. And I would like to thank everyone involved in seeing this project through for a tremendous job. The journey to provide a befitting home for the Bank of Ghana started years ago. Undoubtedly, this impressive new facility represents an opportunity for us to realize the full potential of the central bank.
And that's all for business. We're back with some sports news. And in sports, the 2025 Total Energies CAF Africa Cup of Nations, which has been confirmed, will feature 24 teams. Mozambique secured the final spot after a 2-1 victory over Guinea-Bissau on Tuesday. The eagerly awaited tournament, slated for December next year, will be held in Morocco, which qualifies automatically as the host nation. It promises an exciting blend of established giants and rising teams ready to make an impact on the continental stage. Morocco will be joined by several past champions, including Senegal, Algeria, Egypt, and defending title holders Côte d'Ivoire, who all impressed during the qualifiers. Iconic teams like Nigeria, Tunisia, and South Africa also earned their place, ensuring a strong representation of African football heavyweights. The qualifiers saw notable returns for nations such as the Republic Congo and Angola and Gabon, while Botswana qualification after a long absence reflects the growing competitiveness of African football. Let's bring you some international update after this. South Africa has assumed the presidency of the G20, becoming the first African nation to lead the influential bloc of the world's largest economies. The handover ceremony took place on Tuesday during the G20 summit in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva officially transferred leadership to South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, who pledged to prioritize Africans' development and out interest. Now, during his tenure, South Africa is currently the only African member in the G20, a bloc that represents the world's largest economies. The G20 consists of 19 countries and the European Union, with permanent guest status granted to Spain. Member nations include major economies such as the United States, China, Germany, and India. Now, as first African country to lead the G20, South Africa aims to champion issues of industrialization, employment, and reducing inequality, along with driving discussions on critical global issues. Let's do some entertainment news. And entertainment, this year's Rhythms on the Runway promises a night to remember as some of Ghana's biggest music stars and creative talents take center stage. On the Kente edition, the event comes off on November 30, 2024 at the Grand Arena of the Accra International Conference Center. Kente, Ghana's iconic hand-woven textile, will be celebrated as a symbol of heritage, craftsmanship, and African creativity. Music legends like Asabia Kropper, Nene Ajiman, and Amanziba, alongside contemporary stars including Kamido, Kwabna, Adam, an episode will throw the audience with electrifying performance. The lineup also features international gospel act Michael Starkey and Canadian DKB, who will bring humor to the stage. Now, this year's edition will also honor living legends such as Ejako Nimo and Kwabna as Black Star honors. And that's how we draw the curtain on this afternoon's bulletin. I'm Eric Triniboamelo. Do want to catch us same time tomorrow. Well, this time we unfortunately were late, but we do apologize once again. Tomorrow at 12, the bulletin once again will be live. Do well to stream also on Facebook, on YouTube. My name is Eric Triniboamelo. Have a good afternoon.